Hi everyone. At the end of the year, I normally do a video looking back at some favourite images from the previous 12 months. But 2020, what a crazy year. I just decided I wanted to look back at the events of the year from a photographic perspective. What happened, how it affected me, how I dealt with those events. What insights I've got from it about me, about my photography, maybe how it's going to change the way I look at things going forwards. And at the end of the video, I'll share with you what my plans are for video releases at the very beginning of 2021, the first month. And there's even a little sneak peek of some videos that are coming up. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do, if you like this kind of thing, if you like what you see, and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. How do we even begin to start to talk about a year like 2020? Well, let's start at the beginning. I started the year out with a photographic New Year's resolutions video when I shared what I wanted to achieve in 2020. Now that included visiting a lot of new locations in Spain. I had at least 3, maybe 4 multi-day trips within Spain that I wanted to do, and I was even planning a couple of trips outside of Spain. Big plans. The beginning of the year was a little bit busy for all sorts of reasons, some of it photographically and some of it for other reasons, but I still managed to get to a couple of reasonably new places and do some different images, and also managed to take advantage of some unexpected and even unusual conditions at some local sites. Looks nice. Wow, gorgeous rainbow. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't actually expecting it to rain right now. But then, and I remember it very well, Friday, March the 13th, I was out doing some photography in the afternoon and the early evening around sunset, and I got home and discovered that on the news here we were hearing about the Valencian region, which is where we live, closing all the bars and restaurants and non-essential shops. And then we heard that Spain was introducing this state of alarm, and over the course of the following day, the Saturday morning, we heard about the full extent of the measures that were coming into play. And for those of you that are not aware, Spain went into one of the strictest lockdowns anywhere. I mean, it was home confinement. Unlike a lot of countries where you could still go out to do some exercise, go out for a walk, for 2 solid months here in Spain, the only reasons you could go out were if you were going out for essential shopping, going out for medical appointments, or if you were going to work, if you were in a job that it was deemed essential that you had to go to. So other than that, you stayed in. And that was for 2 solid months. Now I'm pretty fortunate. I've got a balcony and it's got a bit of a sea view, so I took advantage of that, doing some photography off of the balcony, of the sea, of the buildings, playing around with some architectural style photography, some arty type stuff. But I also did some images and some projects here in my little office at home, trying to find ways to be creative. And it was some of those that I think actually were some of the more enjoyable projects that I did during that time. I played around with macro photography, with some smoke photography. I had a couple of goes at photographing soap bubbles. I played around with the effects that polarizers have on clear plastic. I also had a go at water drop photography, which was quite good fun. Didn't really have the right gear for it, but I had a go. And I think probably my favourite was some water splash photography, where I was basically dropping something into a glass and trying to capture the moment of impact and the splash of water. And it actually resulted in my favourite image from that lockdown period, which is this one. And I'm going to be honest, I keep meaning to get that image printed, not massive, you know, maybe an A4 print, in a frame and mount it somewhere on the wall here, but I just haven't got around to doing it. Anyway, that, as I said, that total lockdown lasted for a couple of months. And then after that, we had a period of 3 or 4 weeks when we could go out, but with very strict limits. We could go out at certain times of the day. We could go out certain distances from home and for limited periods of time. And I tried to take advantage of that to get some fresh air and some exercise, and, you know, maybe going out just with a little camera and grabbing some handheld shots. But it wasn't until, I guess it was the beginning of June, that we actually had the opportunity to get out and start doing landscape photography again. Now the problem is, by that time we're into summertime here and it's hot, and even though it wasn't as busy as it normally would be in the summer, it was quite busy with lots of people around, so it makes it difficult to know where to go. Add to that the fact that I'd had a distinct lack of exercise over the lockdown period, and I struggled with some of the hiking. But nevertheless, I managed to get in a few interesting kind of trips, visited some different places, took some pictures and made some videos. And I like to think that the lockdown period had opened up maybe some different ways of thinking for me, and maybe helped me to get some compositions that I otherwise wouldn't have got. Early mornings became particularly important during that time because it's a lot cooler first thing in the morning for sunrise than it is going out in the evening for sunset. And of course the year rolled on. Now I tried a few different things. I photographed an abandoned hospital, or a preventorio, which is supposed to be haunted. Now, did I manage to get something supernatural in that video? I'm not going to give the game away. I also had a play with doing some landscape photography in town. I was a bit concerned about that because I had to wear a mask, because that's the rules here. I was in the street, therefore a mask had to be worn, and I wasn't sure how well that would work for videos. But most people seemed to think it wasn't a problem, and I did intend to do some more of that, and probably will in the new year, but I haven't done just yet. So a couple of insights that I've had this year, and the first one is the importance of being creative. For me, being able to continue doing photography even when it wasn't landscape photography outside was hugely important in, you know, my keeping my spirits up and my morale high during the lockdown period. And certainly doing the videos the same. That creative process really helped me to get through this. I've also realised how much I enjoy photography that's very close to home. I don't necessarily need to travel long distances or even visit brand new places to really enjoy the photography. In fact, some of my most enjoyable photographic moments in 2020 and some of my favourite images in 2020 have been in El Campello, in the town that I live in, and a lot of them have actually been walking distance from home. Now that's not to say that I don't want to try to do some trips in 2021, but obviously that depends on the situation in the new year. And that brings us on to the situation here in Spain right now, because like a lot of the world, we've seen the situation getting worse in December. The Valencian region of Spain that I live in was actually doing pretty well up until kind of the second week in December, and then we started to see the numbers going up again. And whereas a lot of Spain relaxed some of the restrictions over the Christmas period, the Valencian region actually put extra restrictions in place over Christmas. Didn't really affect us in any negative way, but yeah, it certainly affected some people. And I guess that means we may well be seeing further restrictions coming into play once Christmas, New Year and the very important in Spain Three Kings Day on the 6th of January is out of the way. So I'm hoping that I'm still going to be able to get out and do landscape photography in 2021. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get out and do some trips. Hopefully, maybe later in the year I might even be able to do some of those multi-day trips that I was planning in 2020. But for the beginning of the year, I'm thinking we might be seeing, as I said, some extra restrictions coming into play. So what am I going to do about my videos? In November, I think it was, I backed off from doing 2 videos a week to 1 video a week, basically so that I could build up a few extra videos in case you went into a lockdown situation. And what I really want to do is go back to 2 videos a week from the beginning of January. But I'm a bit concerned that we could still see a lockdown and that might be a bit of an issue. So here's what I've decided to do. My Saturday videos, which I've never stopped, will continue, and they will all be, certainly for January anyway, in the field videos. They will be me out somewhere shooting. Now that might be local to home, it might be a little bit further away. I'm going to reintroduce the Wednesdays videos, but that's going to be probably an in-office video. So it may be to do with equipment, post-processing, discussion topics. I don't know what it will be yet. Certainly there'll be some equipment and post-processing videos in there. And if you've got something you'd like to see that's different to that, then please let me know. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. As I said, 2020 was a bit of an odd year. I think the beginning of 2021 is going to be a challenge, and I know for a lot of people out there the restrictions are already in place, and some people are finding it hard. I hope that we soon get past that and we can enjoy a much more normal year in 2021. In a few seconds I'm going to wrap the video up, but stick around because there's a little sort of sneak preview at the end of some stuff that's coming up in January, which hopefully will whet your appetite. And I'll just wrap up by saying thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give it a like, share it on social media, leave me that all important comment. If you like landscape photography and you like what you see in the sneak peek coming up, then don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. And as always, I really appreciate you taking time to watch. So thank you very much. Happy New Year, and until the next video. Bye. Is not that pretty. I'll tell you what, this woodland photography is hard. Woodland photographers, respect. Look at that sky. Oh, it's gorgeous. The heron's back. Okay, so slightly disappointing. Just found another composition, but now a load of people have come down. Looks like a hiking group or something. This railing here is a blooming nuisance. I kind of got obsessed with this tree.